Serena's final project for EAP 101, the money stuff.
Imagine you receive a red pocket for NYU Shanghai due to the Chinese New Year, and you sort of receiving like a 100 bill so that you can go to buy some of the bubble tea you want or go to buy a piece of cake to enjoy yourself. However, after you open the red pocket, you found what is inside is the Bitcoin. It makes you think about, what is Bitcoin? Can I use it to buy a bubble tea on the street? Or can I use it to buy a cake in a cafe? Is it more like a goal, or is it more like a bill? So this is my final project about whether Bitcoin share more characteristic with gold or currency.
Hi, this is Serena. This is a video about my final EAP project for the EAP 101, the money stuff. And my research topic is about cryptocurrency and mainly Bitcoin. My research question is whether Bitcoin shares more characteristic with an asset or more currency with a bill like money, or to say the main currency. This is the video from the Crash for video named Money and Finance. In this video, the speaker introduced to us to another form of money, the digital money, and Bitcoin, the newly existing Bitcoin, belongs to the digital money as she states.
Another form of digital money that you often hear about is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a virtual currency that is not issued or regulated by a specific country. But since some people accept it as payment, many economists consider it money. Unlike other electronic currency, Bitcoin doesn't involve a bank, so people can, in theory, buy things more anonymously.
The speaker of the Crash for video said many economists consider Bitcoin as a currency, but there's also a group of economists share different ideas. From a video named The Annual Meeting of the Business and Finance, there's a female speaker named Serena Zhu consider Bitcoin shares more characteristic with an asset.
To define Bitcoin as a cryptocurrency.
But in first place, do you think it's a currency or it's not a currency?
I think it's a very lousy currency. I don't think it's a payment. It's a very lousy payment. I don't think Bitcoin is disrupting currency or money. Bitcoin is disrupting gold. If you think about what gold as reserve is doing today, Bitcoin can do that and do that better.
In Jennifer Zhu's later analysis, she considered Bitcoin shares more characteristic with an asset because, first of all, Bitcoin is not stable. We can know from a lot of news that the price rate of Bitcoin against dollars is changing, and besides, Bitcoin is decentralized, which suggests that Bitcoin doesn't have a central government to support it. These features are all different from a traditional currency. Actually, my interviewee Kevin, who is a CEO in a game currency company, shared a similar point with Jennifer Zhu. He called Bitcoin the online gold. He said that Bitcoin actually shares more characteristic with an asset in his opinion.
I've heard some of your experience with game currency.
Yep.
So can you tell me some of the characteristics that virtual currency shares?
Okay. Actually, the main characteristic of virtual currency is it's born on the internet rather than bank or another online payment company like Alipay. Yeah. So it is transferred without any bank account through any bank account, but it does have value, and it got ability to deliver that. I can give you some example, just like airline points, and also you're right, the game currency, and also some credit points or the online mall. Yeah, they're all the so-called virtual currency.
In the first part of the interview, I first asked Kevin about some of the characteristics of cryptocurrency. Since he is a CEO of a game currency company. So I asked him about some of the ideas that shares between game currency and cryptocurrency, which is Bitcoin here. According to my interviewee, Kevin's response, we can conclude that there are mainly three similarities between game currency, which is a virtual currency, versus Bitcoin, which is a cryptocurrency. According to Kevin, they are both born on internet rather than issued by banks or governments or other online payment companies like Alipay. Besides, both game currency and Bitcoin can be transferred without using a bank account. Actually, in the later part of the interview, Kevin also stated that in the ancient times, we can use gold to exchange for product directly, which is how Bitcoin works nowadays in our current society. And last but not least, he also stated that they both have values that are not acknowledged by a certain group of people. And this is one of the preconditions that they both have the ability to deliver their values. Actually, based on Kevin's analysis, in the later part of the interview, we started to discuss what are some of the advantages of using Bitcoin if we consider Bitcoin shares more similarity as an asset. Kevin told me that Bitcoin's value can always be acknowledged by a certain group of people if it shares more similarity with a gold. Therefore, people in a war situation don't need to worry about the loss of the value of the bills any longer, because they can always use Bitcoin to trade and exchange for product despite the declining power of the government.
Well, I think for some country, if their fiat currency, the price of the fiat currency to American dollar drops all the time, the people of the country will trend to exchange their money into blockchain to give it.
I know the example. Is it an example when a country faces war and a lot of money can only buy a tissue paper or a toothpaste?
Yeah.
Like $1,000 can only buy that. So maybe Bitcoin can help us solve this problem, because when we know there's going to be a war, we can change all the money into Bitcoins, and Bitcoins can be used in different countries. So is that suggesting a perfect solution for the value of bills or something, other things like that?
Actually, God can do that. You know why there are so many people, so many people and so many countries have to store gold for this country.
Yeah.
To in case there are big war. If there's a big war, or the whole economy of the whole world is based on dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, right?
Yeah.
So, if there is war and American, I just imagine.
Yeah.
If there was a war and American government get down,
Yeah.
and
Like dollar won't be valued so much, but gold will keep its value.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think the whole world will return to use gold to wait.
Yeah.
There's another superpower. Yeah. Yeah.
So like Bitcoin is actually kind of virtual gold, like online gold.
Yeah.
So if one day all people around the world can agree to its value, it is just like gold, but it's more easy to carry.
Yeah. It's still so far, but I think that they will come. Will certainly come. There's many capital and funds in America. They told me that they're really willing to take Bitcoin to their portfolio. They're happy to do that, but why they don't do it now?
Yeah.
Because the whole market cap of Bitcoin is too low now. So
because nowadays
they got so many money from customers. So if they buy some Bitcoin, and the price will
it's like
rise very high. But it will certainly change the cost of buying Bitcoin. So they're waiting.
They're waiting for everyone to agree on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So
like
one day, majority of people are using Bitcoin to transact instead of using cash money.
Yeah.
When we mention the word belief or trust, we actually consider Bitcoin sharing more similarity as an asset, because this is one of the main problems that all assets, especially gold, shared. Taking gold as an example, we can see that when people trust more or believe more in gold, as well as when it's more popular in some days, the price of the gold will go up, and vice versa. When people trust less or it is not so popular in some days, the price goes down. And we can look for the chart that the changing rate of Bitcoin against dollars is also experiencing a great curve of ups and downs, and this is showing the unstability of the price of Bitcoin, and it's showing another reason that why we should consider Bitcoin shares more similarity as an asset instead of as a main currency. And if a currency experiences such great ups and downs on Bitcoin, the country, or to say the city, will be very dangerous because it will be unstable. As currency experience great ups and downs, it will actually lead to conflicts. The next video is actually found on YouTube, created by an organization called Crypto Finally. It is actually singing out the problem we have just mentioned about the unstable price of Bitcoin.
Do you believe in Bitcoin? When the market cap's down, hard think your crypto waiting to bottom out. It's Bitcoin. The charts, they are moving. It's a new world, and you know that we're mooning. Blockchain's growing, it will help us all. The information's there, and it's immutable. If you believe in Bitcoin, go put on your shoes. The world's waking up, there's no time to snooze. Adoption, it goes mile to mile, but we're all here now, so let's stay a while.
When I was doing the research, I found a lot of people saying that the instability of Bitcoin's price is mainly caused by the decentralization of Bitcoin. So I was really curious about how Bitcoin works without a control or support from a government or organization. Thus, I raised this question to my interviewee to search for an answer.
More about the decentralization of Bitcoin, right? If there's no government or organization that controls it, how can it functions or works?
Okay. The internet now. In this field, we call it the traditional internet, and the Bitcoin network, we call it the decentralized internet. So what does this mean? Every website, it must go to a central server, right? Yeah. But Bitcoin doesn't. Everyone, as long as they download application.
So it's like everyone can be like a server to control the system instead of one particular government or organization that control it.
Yeah, but we call it node. Everyone can become node and to become the network or the whole server. I'm a server, and he is also. I'm a node. He is also node, and when you and every node come to become a network, and this big network, we call it a server. So it's so nobody can decide where this server going to go and what this server should to be. Only the codes can decide this server. Yeah.
After asking this question to my interviewee Kevin, as well as doing some research online, I realized that although we have never experienced decentralization on currency, but actually this is similar to what is now happening on trading of assets. For example, gold. Gold actually have no support or control coming from the government or any organization. So I believe decentralization serves as another support to suggest that Bitcoins as assets. At the end of the interview, I asked Kevin, where he thinks in the future Bitcoin can become a main currency. He says that although he thinks it's only possible, but he tells me one of the primary conditions that the Bitcoin needs to have a mature system that ensures its stable value. In the end of this research, I found that there are more evidence to support Bitcoin actually now serves more as an asset. And if actually Bitcoin wants to become a main currency one day, we actually need more restrictions, or to say more ways to make the price of Bitcoin more stable, because this is one of the biggest problems that people don't believe it can become a main currency. At the end of this video clip about my final EAP project, I want to reflect on my learning experience with my learning team. Thanks to their support, I solved a lot of problems and finally find my interviewee, conduct my interview, and finally made this video clip. Actually, I remember the biggest problem I encountered is how to find a potential interviewee, because my topic is about Bitcoin, which is quite professional, and because of some of the law and policies, actually China doesn't allow to use Bitcoin, and Chinese people aren't really familiar with it. So some of my friends and some of my classmates in the learning team suggest me that I should find a lay people so that I can ask some of their suggestion or opinion about Bitcoin. I do try, but because, as just said, Bitcoin, the topic of Bitcoin is not so familiar in China, so it actually failed because they respond to me as they don't really know about it. And Tony, which is my classmate in my learning team, told me that I can ask for help for the professors in Tongji universities or in other universities, and I do send a lot of emails, and they respond to me a lot in their email, but they said they didn't have time for conducting a 20 minutes interview. And finally, when I was looking at my WeChat and surfing online, I found Kevin, who is my interviewee. He's the CEO of the game currency company. And the part that the learning team really helped me and support me is about the making of this video clip, because I feel like it's really hard for me to make something like a movie. And my teammates in the learning team told me I can look some of the videos on YouTube to learn how to make a movie. And finally, I used some cartoon, I used the crash course video, I used some of the interview videos of others, as well as some slides and some of the voice tracks skills. I finally made this video. This video really witnessed how I actually conduct a final interview project, as well as how I do my analysis and about the data, and finally reach my conclusion. So I really appreciate this opportunity and really appreciate the support from my friends.